just for everybody to give a short introduction about Lianne. So Lianne and I, we work together in Kao. And we got to know each other a couple of months ago when I approached Lianne about our mentoring program that we have within Kao EMEA. And me and Lianne, we had a couple of talks, and she had a very interesting she has a very interesting career, and she also done very interesting things within Kao that we would like to share with you today. And Lianne is basically responsible for the mentoring program within the company. So Lianne, I'll give the
Thank you, Victoria, for this short introduction. And so we lose some time, and I hope I can lead quickly through the short presentation and the information. So only a short look at it. So I'm 59 years old. I'm married. I have an adult daughter and a lovely dog. So I'm born and grown up in Germany, and so I studied in Münster, near from the Netherlands, not so far away, close. I think you all know it. I started with ecotrophology. It's a combination from nutrition and economics. And there I have a focus on adult education. So I started in Bielefeld in the company called Alcina, and they had a customer trainer academy, and this was my passion, to combine nutrition with cosmetics. And so I start to train customers in chemistry, so and in dermatology. So this was my starting point, and then I would like to make different experience, and I started further my career at Goldwell in 1989 with marketing. Moved then to sales and education, and then I felt my passion for training. So in 1996 I go to the trainer academy in Munich and looked for a professional education in adult training. So then I moved to the HR department as a trainer, and was then manager for learning and development. And afterwards, in 2003, I make a professional certification in Hanover to look for the professional business coach. Then I moved to the smaller company in Germany. I was responsible for 250 employees as head of HR, and start then further my career at Kao as Director Talent Management in EMEA. And yes, that's my role as of today. In 2013, so we implemented this successful mentoring program we all love. So this is my passion, to give support to people, and I like it. It's my energizer, and I make a lot of experiences in career support, but also in team and team development. That's so nice to see, to grow up the team competencies. So, and further also the leadership development. And I have also experience in professional coaching and mentoring. Yes, now we are here at Kao, Victoria also, in the Netherlands, and I'm located already in Germany, but responsible at Kao for the EMEA region. And Kao is a big company. I don't know if you all know this company. So it's founded 1887 in Tokyo, And as of today, there is a headquarters. Hope anybody knows the company? So raise the hand.
I know it. It's Svetlana here. I know the company Kao. I used to work for Univar, and Kao was one of the suppliers of Univar as a chemical distributor, so I'm very familiar with your company.
Oh,
yeah.
Very, very good, and it's good to know that sometimes outside this Kao is also known.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
As of today, we have 33,000 employees worldwide, and subsidiaries in more than 30 countries worldwide. And in the EMEA region, we have 16 countries with 2,300 employees in total. And in this region, we have implemented an EMEA mentoring program. So to look a little bit deeper, and I cannot share all because I know we have not so many time. So I would like to share today the most things. I think it's perhaps a little bit different from other mentoring programs, and so they can make your experiences there. I start with this fantastic model. I think who knows it? The development model. We use it, so in our company, as a frame for people development. And it means 70-20-10, that 70% for all of our learning and development is grounded in directly doing something, to make own experiences. So the most what we can learn is on the job, and so that we look for something we can do by ourselves. And only the 10%, that's the internal training or external trainings, gives us a lot of input, but this doesn't mean that we can do anything afterwards. It's only the input. And 20% of our learning we realize through support from others, to developmental relationships we have in our life. And all together is the guidance how to learn in a fast way. And for our company, we said we would like to ensure that we have all of this in place for people development. And if I looked at it in 2013, we realized that we have a lot in the part of 10%. We offer a lot of courses, a lot of trainings. And also we looked that we can give people on the job assignments, but we had less 20% development relationships. And this was the beginning to start how we can get more developmental relationships for our people. This is a very important part. And so we found a lot of reasons in our business for mentoring. And one important reason was that we also looked for our succession planning, leadership succession planning, and retention. So to find a special way behind and below and all the programs we have in place. And this was, one was to say, yes, coaching is a good thing, but many voices were there to say, wow, we would like to develop a mentoring program. And so that was really a first start there, in order also to reduce attrition, because this is also one thing, especially in the UK, that we have a completely high turnover rate. So, and to avoid this, so also to bring people closer together and yes, enhance networking in the country. So we said this is one thing also in the business that we can avoid with mentoring. The other one was we have a lot of leaders there, and they are more than willing to support younger people or younger leaders. But what we realized is also they learned in this role reversively, because if you are in the situation to be a mentor, then there is a little bit more distance than between the line manager. The line manager has a direct contact every day and gives support every day. But the mentor is somebody who is more part of the company. It's not only your manager. He's part of a company, and then he has to be a role model. And this is something that many leaders learned, that they have to be a role model if they are a mentor. Yes, so as mentioned before, the 70-20-10 is also there for development. And what we also realize is that people learn easier if they can learn from other people who made experiences, who can tell stories, and then they learn and they can grow easier than only to have a theoretical point to do something different or to have a theoretical model there. And the third pillar we have there, and I think it's a very important pillar, is the business. So we have sometimes critical knowledge we cannot write down, so that we have all in place in a written version. So sometimes we have really informal critical knowledge, and it's easier then to transfer it with mentoring. And for example, so sometimes you establish, or the company established processes, and it's related to some historical decisions. And if you are new to role in the company, in a leadership position, sometimes you cannot understand about this kind of processes and why is it in this way. And then it's sometimes easier to give a little bit from this informal history and share it with the people. So then the holistic understanding, it's easier, and then it's easier to change. Every company has also leadership values in place. So Kao also, we have the Kao way for our mission, for our vision, and also for our ways how we do our work. And so Kao shared their important leadership values, and their mentors can be a role model and show and demonstrate how to live the company leadership values. Okay. So here's a little bit to see that a lot of mentees say it's very important for them in their career development that they get input from a mentor. And I don't know how many of you experienced directly a mentor, but because I see only women here in the moment, is it right?
Yes, you're right. There are only ladies here. And so actually, I think that mentoring, of course, is very important for this group. And I actually did have a question to you just in between.
Yeah.
So what is the best way to match mentor and mentee? So what type of criteria do you look at when you match them?
So I will come a little bit later to this matching process.
Okay.
So, and then it's easier for me to explain it, but it's very important. And I think a company can do it different as to a university. So it's different methods there. And I can share now how we do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only, we made a survey in the last year to ask all of our employees what they preferred on learning methods. And what you can see here, the second one is an individual personal learning with a coach or a mentor. So that's really the preferred learning method. So here only coming to grips with mentoring, what's the idea of mentoring in business? And I think that sometimes in the working area we don't understand the difference between mindful or mindful. That's really an important story. So because what I can see here, it's also that we sometimes have so busy schedules, that the people under pressure, that they realize also that they need support to manage the daily work or to get an additional assignment on the job. And there are the overwhelming part in the working life. And therefore, it's also very necessary to look how can we give support here in this time of change, in time of pressure. And what I experienced is that here a mentor helps a lot and can also look in their own role to give this kind of assurance in this company environment. And this is an important part also of the mentoring. If I feel overwhelmed or under pressure and there's nobody who gives me a little bit orientation, so then it's not easy. But if I give this kind of balance back, so there is somebody, not my direct line manager, so he has the same pressure and with the same objectives, but somebody who is a little bit from another business sector or another function, there is more distance and he can help in a better way. So, and what we experienced, what are the topics in the business content of mentoring? So we could see that if we support people, that are the main topics. So how to find my career path? How should I deal with bigger, larger teams? How can I find my way to make the right decisions? So, and if you have a global company, then it's always there, the cultural awareness of different countries. So for our company, sometimes it's not easy to have these differences between the Japanese culture and the European culture. And sometimes it's not easy to understand the people in the UK. So I have learned a lot to cultural awareness, that I say, wow, I'm not polite if you ask the people, my colleagues in UK, because they say I'm too direct. So I'm not have this kind of writing my emails and the message is between the lines. So I write my emails and I send the message with the lines. And it's a different. And therefore, we have a lot of people who want to get more awareness with different cultures. And it's a real need. And sometimes you have the mentoring if you have a new boss. So that's the difference. You need to change something, or there is a challenge to work with a new boss. So therefore, it's also the mentoring part. And one of the important things is networking. You can see, brings people together. And if we have mentors who are longer within the company, so they know a lot of people, and sometimes they can bring the mentee to connect to other leaders, to other people, to other functions. So, and I think that's really important for a company, and that's easier than to have this kind of connection. And one thing is also that we have continuously around this topic change, because we are in a continuously process of changing of processes, of organization. We change continuously new working methods, IT, software systems, and therefore sometimes you need also to change your behavior. And that's not relevant for all, but for some of our employees, it's really relevant to look how they can change. Not only the working process, also sometimes their own behavior. And therefore, it's good to have somebody who gives advice and shows how it could work. Another point is the topic resilience. I know in the past, for 20 years, nobody has spoken about resilience. It comes in the last years more than more. I don't like the word burnout, because it's for me not so easy to what is it in detail. But I like to see how to support my resilience. How can I make sure that I'm with both feet on the ground, so that I have less stress and that I can find my own working style, my own ways to work with others, to combine my ideas with others, so in an easy way, not in a negative way. And here, mentoring is really a great tool, because it comes before the stress is overwhelming. And if you have a good relationship to your mentor, then there is a support in a really intensive way in a company. Okay, so you know, in this way, the VUCA word, volatility, is some of what we are, yes, faced every day. And also the uncertainties we are faced, also the complexity and the ambiguity. And all together we have in our business world, because changes come more often, we have to look for different consumer needs every day. So we have to look for different products. We have to look for different channels to buy our products. So we need to change a lot of things, and this concerns our employees also, because they have to go with all this kind of changes. And some mentors said, okay, you can look for the volatility and say you are in a good way if you have a good vision. The V, to look there instead of volatility, to look for a vision, to a clear picture. Uncertainty is something if I don't know what's there. But if I look for the you and make another word to bring up an understanding, so look what's behind, what's the reason, then uncertainty, it's no longer uncertain. So it gives me the understanding and it's easier to follow. The third thing is the complexity, and sometimes we don't know what we should take first. What's the priorities there? Because it's all complex. And if you look then for C, like a clarity, to go into and ask more questions. And this is something mentors can give you. If you have a complex world and you don't know how to start with, go back and ask a lot of questions for your own clarity. And at least ambiguity, so get alignment. So that is also something you can develop your own actions. And so it's only an example now here that we have a lot of challenges and mentors can give some other interpretations to give a clear answer, to have another perspective. And this is kind also of the business content in mentoring. So we have for our mentoring program a target group. We cannot offer for all the people mentoring. So we have the clear priority for our future leaders, for the succession planning for our key positions, but also for the high performer who contributes a lot to the company, and for people who are willing to grow. So these are the most important target groups in the moment for mentoring. But we are not in the end. That's for today. So in the past, I think every mentoring program focused more on that we have the older people in place and not the younger. But today there is a change. So we have also young leaders who give support to older colleagues, also in mentoring, because they are experienced in other professional situations. And so we made this experience that we have not only older mentors in place, also in some areas younger mentors for older colleagues. And that is a little bit the difference between where mentoring starts and today. And so we say the mentor may be older and younger, but have a certain area of expertise. It's a learning and development partnership between someone with a fast experience and someone who wants to learn. And this is our credo we give to our people and say that makes the difference. So we want to learn. And it's not important if somebody is older or younger, or a man or a woman. And I don't know if you had ever this kind of discussion. What's the difference between coaching and mentoring. So we start every time in mentoring processes this kind of discussion. Who has this experienced? Is there somebody who said, yes, I had also this kind of discussion before? No?
I had some experience as a mentoring in my previous company, let's say, not just here with our team, but with the previous company. But I don't remember, as at that time, it was maybe 7-8 years ago, that we were struggling between the coaching and mentoring. I think one of the key differential was not to give the advice, but actually to let the people, to guide kind of people to get decision kind of by themselves, basically. That was kind of one of the key differentiator, I think. But yeah, that's...
Yeah. So I think there is no definition that we can say, yes, it's really clear for all, because sometimes you read a new article or a new research and there is a description completely different. And so we're struggling a lot. And then internally we made a decision and said, okay, there are a lot of definitions, but we here internally, we make now the decision how it should look like. So there's still no uniform definition of the terms of coaching and mentoring worldwide. Even in the standard literature, the use of the terms is overlapping continuously. So now we said, you can see it as this nice flip chart. We said a trainer or a teacher tell, a coach ask, and a mentor ask and tell. And this means the trainer and teacher provides more the input, and the coach is the person who asks and gives more how to see the things different or see different things. And hopefully a coach can bring every coachee to find an own solution. And a mentor combines the two roles. They can give input, but also ask and tell stories. And in addition, a mentor shares personal stories, personal success, personal experiences to share with the mentees. And that is something coaches would never do. A real business coach gives not own experience in. And I think a mentor has in the business one in addition, he can share company knowledge. And this is something, for me, a mentor is more than a coach. So in our company, we said the most of our mentors has no experiences in training or coaching or mentoring. So they have a lot of professional experience, but not so many experience to how to make a good mentoring, how to be a good mentor. So they know how to lead a team. They know how to be a direct line manager, but they were not sure how to be a good mentor. And therefore we made, we have also learned that not every expert is a good mentor. We have some experts, really experts, and it's good to have them. But they said, and comes back to HCD and also to me and told me and said, wow, what should I do as a mentor? How can I make this process successful? And this was the idea. We go to the mentor school and developed one program, a one-day training for all of our mentors. And it's a little bit like a formal training. And it considers also that the most of them have no clarity about the difference of the role of a mentee and a mentor. They don't know what's the responsibility for a mentor and a mentee. And this kind is part also of this training. And they get the frame, how to work as a mentor. And this is something, so for me, that I have a training concept there in place that also offer 3 basic methods how to start. No more, because all others come then, they can create by themselves. To start with 3 models, to the 3 methods that they ensure they can start their mentoring. And one point is how to give feedback in the best way. And it's not the same feedback structure as a direct line manager would give. It's a little bit different. So, and also they can learn this in this kind of training. And then also our mentors grow, not only the mentees. And this is our process within the company. So we have not so many mentors with the training available, and we have a kind of nomination process. And the nominees get an offer letter, then they can apply for the program. And we have established a matching committee. And we provide a kickoff meeting for mentors and mentee. And the program has normally 1 year, sometimes 14 months, 16 months. So this is the most frequent duration for this process. And we asked to create a mentoring contract and to fill in a learning diary and a final feedback. And now I give you a little bit more background there. So because the HED department is partner, and the HED department, the business partner, sit down with the line managers and they look for the nominees. Who should get this kind of support? And if it's approved by HED, then we send out an offer letter and we ask, please send us an application and please tell us your reasons that why you would like to attend on the mentoring program, and please describe your mentoring goal in a smart way. And if we have all there, then we have also mentor profiles. And the mentoring committee, it's one of the board member, one of a function leader, HED, and they look for the applications and the applicants and look what's the best matching there. It's the first matching. So for example, sometimes people have a new job, so they would like to look for somebody who has experiences with the Japanese colleagues in the headquarters. for example. And therefore, I need a mentor who has this kind of experience. So I cannot take all, because some never worked with Japanese colleagues in the headquarters. So we have to look perhaps to 5, 6 candidates and who fits best. After the first proposal for the matching, we give both the possibility to have a short call, perhaps a coffee break, perhaps a video conference, or whatever, to have a first contact and then to give a decision, would this work or not? And sometimes they come back and say, no, I think it's not the right, the right matching. Then we try it again. And but if they come back and tell us this could be a good fit, so we offer a kickoff meeting. And with this kickoff meeting, they get the formal frame. What's their role? What is, for the formal mentoring process, what we as HED would like to see. So we tell them that we would like to see a contract, that we would like to see that the mentee makes a learning diary and share this diary contents with the mentor for reflection. And this is only, it's not a lot to give this kind of frame in the kickoff meeting. And then the mentoring process can start. They developed a contract, and in the contract they also described their ground rules, important rules for their relationship. They also describe what are the goals with sub-goals in the mentoring process. And another one is they describe the responsibilities. So because that the mentee perhaps is responsible to look for the schedule, to look for the agenda, to look for something else, and the mentor perhaps is responsible for something else. But they can define it by themselves and wrote it down in the contract. So then it's really clear all the expectations they have. They had a first session with to clarify their complex relationship, and then they can start. So there is nothing that comes up as a surprise. And for us, we make the experience, it worked very well. This is the kind of diary also to share. And I get the feedback that sometimes the people start and say, wow, I don't like to have this kind of notes or a diary. But afterwards, they come back and said, this was a great help. So it was the start of every session we had to reflect the session from the last session. And they loved this kind. And sometimes they said, also, we have a kind of book. Yes, and they can use this afterwards and can have a look after 1 year, 2 years again. And there's all the learning experience they made during this time of mentoring. And honestly, this was my thing, because I have such a diary from my mentor, and it's years ago. But sometimes I go back and look at it. To remember, wow, you would change something and you felt back in your behavior. Yeah, but it's normal. But sometimes it's good to have such a kind of learning diary to remember. Yeah, and at the end, it's very important to have the part of feedback, honest feedback that gives you then the final look if the goal is achieved. And that's my part here also to say, yes, afterwards, feedback, it's the best you can get from the mentor. The mentor can have also feedback from the mentee. That is something I sent out, or my department sent out to mentors and mentees. There's mostly a recommendation. It could be related to a next promotion. It could be also related to a career plan they made. It could be also to make a decision becoming the next mentor. And from the HED perspective, we looked if there's an increase in the 360 feedback, are there other business indicators, and also if there improvement in the performance review rating. Yes, and that's our journey. We started 2013 with a pilot program in Germany, 2 mentors, 3 mentees, all women, because our intention was to promote women in leadership. That was our initial starting point with mentoring. But in 2014, we had this mentor training in place, and 6 mentors, 8 mentees, and they're also only women in place. 2015, we changed completely. So we needed the man to support the woman. And also we realized that, yes, we have a lot of men, they need also support in the same way. So that was for us to change our strategy. And we had then more men involved in the program. And if I look to the program, so I think we do not need to worry about the proportion of women at Kao, because in total in EMEA we have 60% women. And in some areas I look and say, wow, we need more men for a gender balance. But the only thing is we have not enough women in leadership positions. And this is more the kind of encourage women that they dare to do this with children, with sometimes only to have a part-time job. And the company, we need to ensure that we offer part-time leadership positions. We need to ensure that we encourage also the women, and that it's normal that we want to see more women there, and that they get the possibility to do this. And therefore we need men sometimes also, that they support and encourage women leaders to go the next step. So we have on a higher leadership level only 20% women in leadership positions. And therefore, okay, for a gender balance, we can do more. So now we are
I
here.
can, of course, agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yes, you make the same experience.
Yes, I do. So in leadership positions, do you take only the managers and upwards or from the director positions?
From the director position upwards.
Okay.
That's a 20%. Yeah. But if you go...
I'm part of that 20, very few then.
Yes, yes, I know, Victoria. And there is a lot, in some teams, we have a lot of women. But
Yeah.
then you say there is a stopping, the ceiling here,
Yeah.
and nobody comes above.
Yeah, and I think that Kao is not an exception. I think it's more of a rule than an exception in many companies when it comes to senior leadership. So I think that
Yeah.
this mentoring program that we have, it's really good. I think
It's one.
Yeah.
It's one important thing to support this, but there is also we have in only, for example, in Germany, we can go 3 years. I don't know how long you can have parental leave in the Netherlands.
Almost nothing.
Parental leave, so for no time.
3 months, 4 months.
Wow. So in Germany, you could go 3 years. And sometimes we experience, so they can, also men could go. But normally it's, and they can share this time. You could say, okay, 1.5 years in my role as a mother and 1.5 years for the role as a father. But that's not in the head. So we experience as a company that mostly the woman has the whole time. And it's not parental leave, that's, no, it's really more the woman, the mother leave. And I think that sometimes also to change the mind, to support that more women can get in leadership positions.
I agree.
Yeah. So, and we have one role, mentor-mentee, not from the same business, so that they comes from different business countries, and so we look for gender balance, not more and more women. If possible, we have a balance. And in the last feedback, we got 91% satisfaction quote from mentees and 88% satisfaction quote from mentors. And we think it's really high. So what next? So now we're looking to generation Y, because mentoring is so important and we need to look what we can offer them. In the moment, we see that they could help also our leaders to understand their needs. Because if leader understands the needs for this generation, then we can sometimes change also our rules in the company to give other support. And this is also one of the intention to bring both together, that they understand what does it mean. And for me, I know they read articles and they know what the generation Y wants. But it's not the same if somebody is there and tell you and work in another way or something else. Then it have another dimension. That's the difference. I can see they do something different, and it's not only my reading. And this is my intention, that I would like to look also for this kind of mentoring as a next step. Yeah, questions?
Wow, that's great. Thank you, Lianne.
Yeah.
Thank you for this great presentation, and also it makes me very happy to hear that you're very excited about the topic. So thank you very much. We do also have one lady, Marina, who is going to share her story. Marina, are you still there? Maybe just quickly you could talk about your mentoring experience, and then afterwards we can wrap up with some questions, because I also have some questions for you, Lianne, afterwards.
Yeah.
Marina, are you still there? I see that she's there, but maybe she's on mute. Marina? Let me see. I think, Marina, you're on mute. Can we maybe, no, she's not on mute, so. Marina? All right, in the meantime, I think, while Marina maybe is trying to get her, now, Marina? You there?
Strange. Maybe you try without the headphones. Maybe the computer microphone will help you.
Okay, maybe in the meantime, I can have a question to Lianne. I found it, let me see, I have a couple of questions. So what is your practical advice on the mentoring moments? Let's see, I have myself also a mentor through RSM, and I can sometimes feel that our sessions are very unstructured, so we can talk about everything basically. And then I sometimes feel that it doesn't really bring the best out of that session. Yeah. So what advice could you give to all of the ladies, how they could structure their sessions a bit more, better, wiser, time-wise also?
Yeah, this is part also of the kickoff meeting we provide to say, please clarify in the first session your overall mentoring goal. And then look if you can break it in sub-goals, and look that every session gets an agenda. How to achieve this goal. Okay. And then to look what could be a method to achieve this. So is it a first discussion, a short brainstorming, to give advice, or to collect something, or whatever, to give them an agenda and a structure.
Okay.
And overall, it's very important that the outcome is that you have a kind of action in place that brings you further. So for me, it's important, if I have a mentee, sometimes to give them an activity, a kind of action that they can make experiences that they have never done before. So perhaps to look for something, to do something different, to try to do this, that's the 70%, and then come back and discuss how it works. Because then it gets more the practical experiences also. It's not only a discussion around and around and there's no outcome.
Okay, thank you.
I love it. May I ask Liana? I think this is so valuable for us as Mentor We, I don't know if it is possible, thinkable, if you could share a little bit more, maybe a document later, so that we can share it with the Mentor Week community, if that's possible.
Yeah. So you say my presentation, or what do you mean?
No, specifically of the last point.
Okay.
What kind of mentoring conversations can be, and the structure that you mentioned.
Yes. Yes.
Of there must be an action after the meeting.
Yes.
That's gold.
Yes. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Also, Lianne invited me to the mentoring training, right, somewhere later this year. So
yes.
I will also be able to share some more good inputs I learned from Lianne.
Yes. Perhaps you're the next teacher.
Exactly. I also had another thing which I found it very interesting, where you had those, like the topics that you discuss. I also saw one which was family. So I think that's a very important one for women, right? I mean, especially if you come into, I know from my own experience, when you go, up in an organization, then of course you have to juggle these two things, which are sometimes very difficult, the work and private.
Yes.
So I think that's something that in the mentoring relationship for ladies, that's a very important topic, right?
Yes, it's really, really an important topic. And I know that sometimes the mentees in their application, they wrote it as an overall goal to have somebody who can give advice how to manage the family and the work. And if we find the right match, so it was so helpful, the feedback, because it said there was somebody who has managed it before. And it was so helpful to have somebody who has the same challenge, or had the same challenge, and can give practical advice there. Yeah. And it's more and more that people ask for this kind of challenge, to have this balance between family and job. Yeah.
It's Svetlana here. Can I just make a comment? Because I think we have a tendency to think about that, let's say this is that particular area of family is very important for women, but actually it's even more important for men sometimes.
Yes.
I had several experiences around me within my team. For example, there was a person whose wife became ill, and eventually he became a widower with a single child. There was another colleague who divorced and ended up having, 2 kids to take care of. And what you see in today's world, where, let's say, especially with the divorce, I would say more prevalent, and parents are co-sharing the custody, that sometimes men actually struggle more with that. But we have a tendency to look at, okay, well, here is a single woman, who, let's say, with the child or children, and she needs lots of support, and that's true, but that's not the only one. I'm just bringing it up because I think it's just like, when we talk about the gender bias, I think we need to be also not biased ourselves, not to go blindly into that, because you really see it more and more, and because men have difficulty to ask for that help and to even bring it up, compared to maybe women. We as women will connect to another woman, and we will kind of pick up on that need maybe earlier than it is with men. But actually there is lots of need out there as well, where maybe women can provide more coaching on that subject and bring value to their male, let's say, colleagues. So anyway, it was just something I want to share, but
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. That's an important point. So because we have examples, we have exactly this kind of examples. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Super. Marina, are you able to connect for a short experience reflection? I can see you, but I cannot hear you. All right. Any more questions then to Lianne? Yara, I also cannot hear you. Something strange happened suddenly. Yeah, now.
Now you
No?
can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, finally. I mean, I think I was talking in some points and alone, I think. I have a question for Lianne because when I was in Germany, I had two more experiences with the mentoring program. The first one was when I was in Munich and I joined the Frauen Academy. And then I was asking for a mentor to help me to find a new job in Germany. And the Frauen Academy, they took like 6 months to find me a mentor. And it was, I think, the best mentor I ever had. It was very good. It was a Russian woman, head of IT at Siemens. And as a Russian woman in Germany, as well, immigrant like me, in the IT area and with a similar experience. So she was able to help me. So I think it's like the point from Lianne to say, we take our time to match our mentors and mentees. I think it's a very good point there. And then the other experience was in a corporate. When I was at Adidas, we had this peer mentoring program, and they took some time to match ourselves. And I had a man, but it was a bit of a structure, but not so much. But I think to have this structure and guidelines about how we can take notes and what we have to get off of the sessions, I think is very, very important. Because I can remember my times after, I don't know how many years after this woman I had from Frauen Academy, I review all my notes again and again. And I was talking to myself if I advanced from the comments on all the discussion we had, or I was following my thing I wanted to do. So I think it's like Lianne mentioned, it's very important to take notes and to have a structure and to have guidelines or templates to follow up. Even if we have informal sessions, we can have some time of chit-chat and then have a structured conversation with takeaways and next steps. So I think that's a very good point. Liana, is there? Yeah.
Okay, so it was on mute. Yeah.
Okay.
I totally agree what you're telling there, because if you have great experience with a mentor, then and you feel it was helpful for you, and then it's easy to go back to your notes and look again to it and learn again. But if there is not a really good experience, so there is no reason then to go back. And
yeah.
Therefore, it's very important that the matching is a good one. So, and for we gave also the recommendation, if you start because you are thinking about it's will suit you well, this kind of pairing, but after a while you say, oh, I think that is not a good idea to go further, then everybody has the right then to cancel the relationship. because that's normal. It's life, and but it makes no sense then to have the next session and the next session, and with the same experiences and the same feeling. So then it's better to say, okay, we think it makes no sense.
Yeah, good. I think Marina sent a text message. Marina, like.
Yeah, Marina just cannot, it was okay in the beginning, but now it's something with her microphone, unfortunately. But I think that this topic is really good, and I think that this will not be the last time we are having this conversation about mentoring and a bit more sort of a practical approach to it. So thank you, Lianne, really for sharing your knowledge. I'm now very much excited about our next meeting. Oh, so Marina has a question. She is typing now on the app, and she wants to understand in Kao who are the sponsors of the mentoring program.
So it's part and lead by the HED department. So, but then if we establish the pairings, then they take over their own responsibility. So we offer only then the frame, and that means after the kickoff, mentor and mentee have this kind of responsibility to go through the program and to look that they get the most out of it. And yeah, so HED, it's only the frame giver. Yeah.
But I also think that the German board, right, they also sort of indirect sponsors of the mentoring program.
Yeah, yes, there was a starting point in Germany, but now it's an EMEA mentoring program, and this means that the EMEA lead team, there is a conclusion, at least. Yeah. And in the moment, Eric Brockhus, for example, is part of the mentoring committee.
All right, thank you. Do we have any more questions to Lianne? Good. All right.
Yeah, I think Anna has.
Yeah, Anna, just also thanking for the information and experience. Yeah. Super. All right, Lianne, if you don't mind, we have recorded the session and we're going to share with the entire community. Of course, sometimes it's difficult for everybody to join like that on the Monday evening, but we do have a link and we're sharing with all of the ladies. So whoever wants to have a look at it can do it later. Is that okay with you?
Yes, it's completely okay.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you too. And it was an interesting evening, and I like it to speak about mentoring.
Good, thank you. It was very good having you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.